for me, 3 years ago, December the 23rd, my father died, and basically I didn't know what Rich did during the day, and so I was just doing the gig, and I was just saying, man, my dad died, he died with me, and I'm the oldest of 8, and now all this responsibility was left on me, and had a house that he had just refinanced, and a truck he just bought, and I was like, what do I do with all this stuff? I don't, and so. I have 2 kids in college, and and I'm a jazz musician. So I was talking to Rick, and he's like, "Well, man, here, take this call. Come down and talk to me. Just give me a call tomorrow." And I had no idea what it was about, And so I went down to a law office that he worked at that I didn't know, and talked to this lady, and she's like, and then she gave me a fee at the end. And I looked at Rich, and he looked at me, and he's like, And so it ended up, it was several thousands of dollars that this lady, that the company did for me. And, I was like, well, you're going to have to put me on the payment plan to get in line. I'll pay you, but it's going to be a minute. And, Rich just waved his hands like, give it to me. And I'll never forget that, and I didn't ask him to do any of that. This is what he took on his own to do for me. And he always liked it. I called him my buddy Rich. Yes. The buddy Rich the drummer. So anyway, he's a beautiful man, and it's someone to aspire to be like for me, So.
Right. Well, and that story, and that's something Pam and I talked about, and it's something that's come up over and over and over in the past month, that when people are generous, there's 2 types of people, or 2 ways they'll approach being generous. There's people that will be generous because they expect something back. And they're giving something, which is great, but then they're doing it because they either want to feed their ego or they want something in return. Or there's people that are generous just for the act of being generous and being a kind person. And I'm hearing over and over stories of things that Rich would never tell you about that he did, like a drummer that he'd go see and his drum set's falling apart. And Rich saw him at the gig, he said, come on with me, let's go to Guitar Center the next day. They go to Guitar Center thinking they're just looking around, and Rich goes, what drum set do you want? Pick out one and I'll buy it for you. And Rich was thinking he's going to buy the biggest drum set he just bought, small set like what he had, but Rich was ready to do whatever was necessary for him. And when Rich couldn't play, and Bach and Brian and I went out there, he's shown us his closet of stuff. And he goes, I got this Bose system here. I'm never going to use it again. He bought it originally, like right at the start of when they were playing out here, right? Basically for this room.
Yeah, he bought it
for the
for
singers. They said, I'm not going to use it. If you want it, take it. And this is, these are like $1,000 systems. And every time I play here, I use this one because it's great for this room, but also every time I pull this out and put together and play through it, I'm going to think of Rich forever now, whenever I set up and play through this. You've got a story too, right?
Yeah, I've got these cymbals are Richard's cymbals, and it's truly a pleasure to play them. I know that this set over here is from the 60s.
Yeah, I think that was original.
Yeah. Original. And they're immaculate. They're absolutely immaculate.
He was a very fussy man.
Very fussy.
Yes, he was.
Wow.
They're brand new from the 60s, but of course he played them all the time. And Rich came to me one day and just said, hey man, I've got a cymbal for you.
Yes.
And he gave me a cymbal, and the drummers are all cymbal collectors. Yeah. Every single drummer on the planet.
Because that explains a lot.
That's right. And
a lot of them.
Just about every musician in this town plays a church gig every Sunday, myself included. And that cymbal is down at that church gig, and I play that cymbal every Sunday. 2 services every Sunday. Did this morning.
Good.
And every time I'm playing it, I'm thinking of Rich.
Yeah.
And I always will. And of course that cymbal looks immaculate as well. It's also from the 60s.
And that